What's going on, Snow?
Not much.
You know, it's been a week of bullshit on a stick, as Lewis Black would
Yeah,
say.
I know. That's why I laughed. I'm like, oh yeah, Lewis Black
Just
saying,
constant, nonstop. But we have a guest, somebody local,
yay!
Dustin, and it's one of our favorite subjects to talk about. How people are leaving MAGA.
hmm
And so, welcome, Dustin.
But thanks for having me, guys. MJ Snow, good to be
Thanks
here.
for being here.
All right, so let's get started. You were a Trump voter, right?
3 times.
3 times. Okay. What was the final straw?
Well, I think it's, to put it bluntly, it's more of a kind of like boiling a frog. In a degree at a time, it gets to the point where it doesn't realize it's being boiled alive. Well, for me, the final straw where we realized that it's going too far, is just, I would say, would have to be, especially as a Christian, on Easter with the texts and things like that. Where I felt I could no longer stand by,
hmm
and that is no longer acceptable.
Yeah, that did piss a lot of people off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was it slowly eroding away before that?
It was, especially to talk about a sensitive thing, is with what's going on in Gaza and Palestine
Okay.
and in southern Lebanon.
Yeah.
To be frank, it's an unconstitutional war, and that we're there for who knows why.
hmm
Yeah. And one thing we've gotten to a lot into the last year is talking about Christianity, even though, we're agnostic, pretty much. Yeah. How do you feel about that? Like these wars and stuff like that, because it just seems like the most un-Christ-like thing to do, to have these wars, and where you're saying that you're going to wipe Iran off the map and you're going to do genocide of the Palestinians.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just agreeing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it goes deeper than that, because especially with MAGA, to be where I was on board with it is, and that's the part as just someone who can say I was wrong, but as an American and as a Christian, saying what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And with the fact that we were sold something in regards to America first, and be here and kind of in these endless wars in the Middle East, and to kind of get our own house in order. And at every kind of turning point of it just was failure to deliver, and it just blatantly lie after lie. And that's where I believe a lot of us are falling off on it, because if you're wrong, you're wrong. And if you're selling me something, and when you bring it to me and it's not there, then who else can I have to blame but myself?
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially like with the whole war, like that is in no way America first. I mean, it seems to me like it was more like Israel first, because there's been a lot of talk lately about how Netanyahu has been approaching a ton of the American presidents, trying to get them to bite on going to war against Iran. And then he finally found that in Donald Trump. I mean, like, Donald Trump's the only one that took the bait on that. And I'm like, yeah, how? Because you're right. He did sit there and say, he was all going to be about America first.
Yeah.
This is in no way, shape, or form benefiting America at all.
Yeah, not to mention the affordability crisis.
Right. And it's actually hurting a lot of the rest of the world too.
It's kind of scary, because it looks like it's about to destabilize the global economy, because especially what's going on in Japan, them kind of returning to an isolationist standpoint. and kind of saying, hey, the free ride's over with the yen, because that was kind of like the backdoor trick in Wall Street, where if you wanted to go and start a venture, start a business, you could go and take a loan out in yen in Japan from the Bank of Japan that was either at 0% interest or next to nothing. And you could turn around and convert it to US dollars, and you could short stocks and bonds with the Bank of Japan, and then it was guaranteed yields. And it's just completely ruining the whole economy. It's threatened.
Yeah, but the world economy is based on the U.S. dollar.
Yes, because,
Right.
Yeah,
And hopefully it remains that way, but like sometimes it doesn't look like.
No, well,
Like-
the France pulled all their gold out of Fort
Yeah.
Knox, you know.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like people are tired of it.
Yeah.
Other countries are getting tired of it. And it's
I know,
like-
and then we kind of cozy up to our enemies or perceived enemies, and then we alienate our allies, which has been happening over the last year.
Yep.
And when you're talking about Israel, that's a big kicker. That's a big kicker, and that's where it's kind of scary, because it goes back from the USS Liberty all the way up. Anything that they've ever tried to push the Israeli interest through Congress with AIPAC is none of them have failed. If they want to get something across the board, they always pass. It's either by one vote or two votes. They own a majority of our Congress.
Well, it's because if you don't go along with Israel, it seems like you'll be labeled anti-Semitic.
Yeah, and so I've been.
Which let's just say that we've said this on this podcast, but I feel like we need to say it every single time. Just because we don't agree with the Israeli government does not mean we don't support Israeli people.
Absolutely.
Right. And it's really too bad that this isn't a video one, but I can't but help, like, so I looked this up. That's old maps of Israel and Palestine.
Yeah.
Okay. The darker color how does that not show anything but genocide? Like,
It's all about just the framework and how they.
it's like that's what Palestine used to look like
Absolutely.
in 1946, and then it has become like they're just pushing them out, and I'm like, how did they not learn from America? Like we kind of did this with the Native Americans, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's just the Armenian genocide of our age, whichever one you want to put into it. It's just the one for our time, and I think that we're gonna be on the wrong side of history this time.
Yeah, and
Right?
like history is doomed to repeat itself. How is this now? I hate to make this comparison to Nazi Germany, but how is it not kind of similar, where you're just trying to eliminate entire community, and Israel is the one that is doing it?
they were the
Israeli
persecuted-
government.
Right. But like, how do you, okay, so they all got moved after
Right.
World War II. That's where they moved them. I always question that too. I'm like, why didn't they just bring them to America? But so they moved them to Palestine. That's what the 1946 map represents.
Mhm.
And then it's like, how do you guys go from the Germans like starved you, literally starved Jews, and now you're like, you turn around and you do that to someone else? I'm like, I don't get it. Like, how does that happen?
Yeah.
How is that not wrong?
See, Bill Maher would call us anti-Semitic for the same stuff.
Yeah.
I don't even want to mention his name on our podcast.
It doesn't take much. You
Right.
could do anything, and that's the funniest part of you with anti-Semitic. It's referring to people from the Middle East, from being in the middle, and then it's so technically Palestinians are Semitic. That it's not just people who are Jewish or Israeli who live in that area. It's talking about it all as a group, so they're part of that group. So for us to not say, hey, this is wrong, you guys executing 4-year-olds crossing the street trying to get water,
Right.
or hey, this is wrong for certain political right, fine, commenting on 18-month-old children being pulled out of rubble, and when people say, how can you sleep at night? He says, I sleep just fine, thanks for the picture.
Jeez.
So and that's what started for me because I was seeing all these things, these travesties in the West Bank and in Gaza and Lebanon, and I started to get curious. So I called my my representatives, my congressman Paul Gosar.
Oh, good.
All of
You
them.
call-
Did you get a
yes.
response from Gosar?
No, I told them I was going to call every day. So I was calling every day for about a month, and I would call either once or twice. Every time I saw something, I'd write down, take notes, and I'd ask questions, and they would say they couldn't answer or reflect anything with. They couldn't answer. So my question was, if you work for them, if you align yourself with them, you should have some kind of moral compass of where they're at. So for me, if I'm going to work with somebody and it's their moral compass is complete opposite of mine, then I might say, you know what, maybe I'll take the pay cut, or maybe I'll try to intern with somebody else. But I would ask them that you're politically, either you're educated, and they would say, yes, I'm educated. Can you at least tell me that if you're educated? They say, yes, I'm educated. I ask them, well, do you have political aspirations? They say, yes, I do. I say, obviously, you're interning in a political office.
Right.
So you have aspirations. So the fact that they're positioning themselves, they're just staffers. But every time you try to ask questions and anything, it's just shut down. So then I called the the Republican Party in town. And I just want to ask them, hey, where are we at? Because am I crazy? Is this how are you going to sell this to me where I can feel that I'm on the right side? And he listened to me, and he told me to lift my skirt and
You can say it.
and to fellatio myself.
But it's like saying something like that. It's like, don't guys always make the joke, if I could do that to myself, I'd never leave the house? How is that even an insult? It's not a good one.
No, I think maybe his old age is not as limber. That's why he couldn't.
Right.
'Cause
Like, what are they?
What was this guy's position in the local party?
Good God.
couldn't get that far. I was trying to ask for somebody else because his name I don't want to say his name, but he was there, and you could hear at least maybe 3 or 4 other people in the office kind of going back and forth, people on the phone, and he tried to roll out with, well, they're going to nuke us, and then I said, well, they don't have nukes. Yes, they do. I said, well, Bush said they had nukes in Iraq. Remember weapons of mass
Yeah.
It's the same song.
And he lied, and everyone found out that it was that the whole weapons of mass destruction was a lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it all seems like a farce to have the oil companies make profits, because
Right?
we get very little oil from that area.
How do they already not get enough profits? I don't understand
And-
this. They don't pay taxes.
And
They get subsidies, and yet they still need more money. Are you fucking kidding me?
but going back to that, I'm sure the same guy you talked to would have had the narrative, why did we bomb Iran? Well, we obliterated their nuclear network last June. So how is it's an imminent threat when we just wiped it off the face of the earth last year?
It's not. It wasn't an imminent threat.
It's just like the book Animal Farm.
Yeah.
It's Snowball. Snowball did it. The wind blew wrong, blew down. It's Snowball. It's always that scapegoat. It's the terrorists from inter-country here that's going to remove us of our liberties or remove us of our this or that. And America's threatened. America's threatened. And that's the way they have been selling it. And they've been doing it on the back of that our number one ally in there is our number one ally. And I'll tell you, have you ever seen the way they treat foreigners there in Israel?
Mm-mm.
Have you seen what they do? They say that, they sell this pro-Christian Zionist, the connection. Like, we're just kind of like misunderstood cousins. We're all on the same team. But no, they spit on you. If you're wearing a crucifix inside of Israel, they'll spit on you. They'll attack you. They'll hit you. There's video footage of it too, and they're horrible. They have a crucifix in the museum that looks like Ronald McDonald's. So they have a crucified Ronald McDonald. So that's our number our evangelical best friend, quote unquote. That they don't not only they don't want us there, but they don't like us, and they say horrible things and do horrible things to us.
Wow. Speaking of Animal Farm, I want to see that new movie. It's a
Circus.
cartoon or something.
Yeah.
of Animal Farm?
Mhm.
Yeah.
The guy was on. The
Gollum.
director was just on. Yeah, Gollum. He
Andy
was.
Serkis.
He was just on the Daily Show,
Mhm.
and he brought a hat that said it was a red hat, and it said "Make Animal Farm fiction again."
Yeah.
And he gave to those.
So you mentioned the fear of terrorism, the fear of weapons of mass destructions. You seem like you're well versed on these subjects. Did you buy into the Fox News propaganda? Did you listen to that? Or were you just doing your own independent research on this?
I try to stay away from big box news
Yeah, same here.
because big box news does what big box news does. It is a roller coaster of breaking news, breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. And I feel it's just a way to numb you from what is really news. Because if they throw a bunch of horrible things in your face, rapid fire, all day, every day, you're still trying to process what happened yesterday or 3 seconds ago, but there's already something else to look at. And
Right.
I think it's a way to kind of shift the frame of what's normal and what's abnormal. And if they can slowly inch by inch shift that frame of what's normal to what's kind of unacceptable.
Mhm.
But everything outside of it you can't see, but what's inside that frame is your normal from your day-to-day view. So if they can shift it over where you're still looking through the same periscope or paradigm, same paradigm of where you're looking at things, they can shift it where 10 years ago you said this won't stand, this is unacceptable. But now you go, well, it's just kind of the way things are.
Well, yeah, it's selling fear on it. Well, and I'm not saying CNN is any better. It's just two different branches of it.
Well, like I don't even watch MS now.
Yeah.
Because
it's all saying,
they're all biased.
Yes.
They all are.
But it's saying like, well, I guess CNN would do it too. It's selling fear to it, and then you're like, hey, these immigrants are coming for your jobs. Or last week on Fox News, this one bitch was on there just literally screaming how Obama had condemned the assassination attempt last week on it. But she was screaming about how Obama certainly knew what the assassin was doing, his motives,
What?
and that he was part of the problem
Okay.
of what radicalized this guy. And I guess if you're older and that's your only news source, you tend to parrot it. I mean, that happens around here all the time.
Right.
Like corporate media puts out this message and everybody's like parrots it. Like, freedom isn't free when the gas prices go up. And then everybody jumps on board on Facebook and yeah, freedom isn't free. Well, you hated high gas prices last year. Come on.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I ask them that whenever people say that. That's the number one thing I hear when you talk to anybody. Is they'll say, well, they said. And you say, well, who's they?
Right.
And every time you ask them, who's they, you're going to get crickets. Because they don't want to, or they don't know. They kind of heard it down the line. They just kind of went, oh, that's what's going on.
Or they don't want to say that. Some of them are even embarrassed because they know that deep down they know that if they say, well, I heard it on Fox News, then they're going to get like the pushback from, that's
The ivory tower.
that it's like, I mean, a lot of people call it fake news, I think that's actually where the fake news thing started. And then Trump kind of just started calling CNN fake news.
Well, it's like my roommate, he's hard of hearing, so he listens to it, and this lady's screaming about how the left is responsible for political violence and stuff like that. But then when I confront him, when I walk out, I'm like, this lady is fucking nuts. And he will just be like, I wasn't watching it. I'm like, you're watching it. You can admit it. Don't be ashamed. You catch him watching porn.
But they do, like, Fox News does push out the narrative that the left is violent. But if you went in and you looked up the statistics about what side has caused more political violence, if you look at the statistics, you're going to see that it is in fact the right.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
the
we
left didn't attack the Capitol.
and we condemn political violence of any type.
Yeah, it shouldn't happen on either side. We don't like it when it happened, like the looting that did happen during the BLM
in Portland.
Yeah, well, in Portland and in Minneapolis.
Yeah,
but it was also proven that there were instigators that that were actually on the right. That one guy that got busted by his ex-wife. Yeah.
It's kind of like agent provocateurs type thing.
Yeah.
It was
proven, but it was also like the thing that they don't see either, because they'll always bring up the BLM. What about that? It's like most of the people that looted were held accountable. They were arrested and they were held accountable for what they did.
But the thing is, no matter how you do it, it falls into such you almost fall into the velvet sack of your own trap, because no matter how you do it or how you try to make a difference, it seems like that they win, because even if you are arrested and if you are trying to do the right thing, or you get put through the system, and next thing you know, you're slammed into a private prison across the country, and you're stuck there for God knows how long.
So
oh yeah,
sorry, I mean, just,
no, we
it's
didn't.
That
was a good segue.
You're doing a good segue, but you're kind of jumping ahead a little bit. But okay, so let's ask you this. Okay, so you voted for Trump 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Who won the 2020 election?
Are you talking about with the January 6th Capitol thing?
Yeah.
To tell you the truth, I don't know. And I'm not going to lie and say I do and say that he did, because it's very well the chance that he didn't. And if he didn't, then democracy succeeded. And if he did, then if he didn't, and then all it did was push the chaos 4 years into the future.
So you're still not sure who won that election?
No, I would say that to me, it's not really, doesn't matter. Like, it's not, like, I think it's a tragedy what happened on the Capitol. I think it's a tragedy about, it left another oil stain on the white t-shirt of America's democracy.
But you don't think that Joe Biden won?
I don't know.
Okay.
To me, it's just such a mucky situation that there's so many different, things on different sides. But do I think that Joe Biden should have been president? No, I'm not saying I don't think he should have been president. I'm saying that he went through he did his term and he did his presidency and we got there. And do I think that at any time that there should be violence inside of the nation's capital because of an election? No, because I feel that undermines the entire point of our constitutionally elected government, and the only thing I do disagree with would be the same kind of song and dance as getting rid of the electoral college, because it's outdated. If that's one thing I would say out of it.
Yeah.
But do I think it was wrong? Yes, I do.
Oh, you're for getting rid of the electoral? Yeah, me too.
And I also would say I would condemn the what happened on the Capitol, and I would say that it was wrong for any kind of words of incitement to it.
But you had enough questions about that election that wasn't your breaking point with Trump.
I think I was just detached at the time, where it just seemed such a big issue that was so far away that you were kind of like, well, I guess they'll figure it out over there, because we're all the way in Arizona, they're all the way in the DC, and I was working at a prison at the time, so I was stuck in a place where I was watching the news with them, kind of as everyone was finding out in the prison. I was finding out, because we're all kind of standing at the TV like, oh my goodness, like, what is going on here? Is this a civil war? What happened? Is this something bigger? It's crazy.
Right. So speaking of prison, so you worked for a private prison outside of Kingman?
Yeah, I worked at the prison out here, and it's the largest unit prison in the state of Arizona.
Yeah, and it's owned by the Geo Group.
It is.
We can say that.
Before that, it was MTC.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How many inmates did they have?
On the minimum yard, which is level 2 yard, which is for like non-violent, non-repetitive, or people coming down from higher charges, getting ready to be released. You have to transition to different yards. It had approximately, I would say, 18 to 1900 active inmates at any time on just the Surbat unit, and then it would have about 1500 on the Wallapai or the Huachuca unit.
And how much do they get paid to house each prisoner?
When I worked there, it was that for general population, it was $50 per inmate per day, whether or not the bed was filled or not. So, for example, when they were remodeling dorms, they would have like dorm 3 or dorm 9 completely empty, and in each dorm, there's a big wall and a warehouse, and on each side of it, there is 100 beds on each side. So there's 200 inmates per dorm, and they were getting those $50 per inmate per day.
Okay, so you're making roughly $90,000 a day.
That's just what they get in their contract from the state of Arizona.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
And it's more for the inmates across the way at the Huachuca unit because they are a higher custody level. A lot of them are either sex offenders or are protective custody.
Okay.
So
yeah.
they have to be housed together.
Yeah. They changed that recently because like they were having a lot of violence with.
Yeah. Statewide, they put it's called an interracial housing compact, and they had all certain amounts of people. They had to sign the document saying they'd agreed to be housed with other people of different races or ethnic groups or religious beliefs.
Uh-huh.
And it would give them more benefits, reductions in time or more privileges.
Okay.
what kind of job did you do there?
So I started as just a regular correctional officer, and when I was there, I worked as a floor officer. And what I discovered from my tenure working there is that not to kind of run around, but anyone who wants to be a cop should have to work in a prison first, because if you can't address large groups of people with your mouth and to be able to de-escalate situations and kind of get to the heart of the matter and resolve things, there's no reason you should be able to run around on the street, with a gun on your hip. If someone doesn't listen to you, have your way with it.
Mm-hmm.
But so I managed approximately, 200 to 400 inmates every day just by myself. So, and I worked in kitchen officer. They give you different posts. So I worked pretty much every single post there, but I worked main control for about a year. And another thing is that it seemed like the mentality there was it's us versus them. And it's, you can do not whatever you want, but you can do certain things to get your point across, such as maliciously writing tickets, because a lot of them for certain things can carry street charges, and they can lose their visitation rights, they can lose their good time, they can lose by their good time I mean their early release dates, because if you have disciplinary, you can lose those things, or everything from there. So, but I worked in visitation towards the end, and the visitation department I felt was better, but it was the only spot in the prison where I found drugs on a visitor. When they were ingressing,
Right.
They had methamphetamine in their watch pocket on their jeans and a little dime bag. But other than that, it's costing, especially the taxpayers out here,
Yeah.
unknown amounts.
Yeah. And that's like the only thing I can think of as why they wanted to change it from like the prisons being state run to going the private route is like to make money.
It's profit, yeah.
Like, and they're, how is that not basically like stealing from the taxpayers?
Which if you're for profit in a prison system, your incentives are to keep those people in there housed as long as possible.
Right. And not to mention too, the other part I don't like about it is it fucks the workers over, because if it was state run, you guys used to get like better benefits, better pay, pensions, stuff like that, higher wages.
Mhm.
And it's like They went the private route so they could get like basically cheaper labor, and the money's going to be funneled to the top versus, giving people a decent wages.
What
I
kind of
mean,
what kind of training did they provide?
So you go through it's like a 2-month academy that you have to learn certain things like the use of force continuum. They changed it to different things, but just state required things for you to be post certified for the the prisons. But I believe it's the company, because they don't just have prisons in the U.S. I believe they have prisons around the globe, the Geo Group, and they also have a lot of like ICE detention centers all over the country.
Great.
And they're based out of Florida.
Oh.
But I think they're one of the largest.
So do they own Alligator Alcatraz too?
They might. They could. I believe they have prisons in like South Africa too, for sure.
Well, I mean, that explains why they want to keep people detained rather than deport.
Well, yeah, if they're making the what, like the 90,000, what was it again?
$90,000 a day.
Yeah,
approximately. That's not including with the different level custodies.
Because I think I read an article.
We'll just go with that, though. I mean, that's still a lot of money.
Yeah.
I thought I had read an article where it's like the private prisons make like approximately around 30-something thousand per inmate per year. And like,
in profit?
Off the taxpayers. Yeah, that we're basically paying, it's like 30 that's what it costs per year. The taxpayers
to house
per inmate.
Yeah.
Per year, yes.
I wonder what kind of, because being a corporation, you have goals. You need to make a profit. I wonder what the profit margin is.
They're expanding it now, because now it's something called a continuum of care. So now if you get released, now you have case managers that are assigned to you by the state or sanctioned companies like the Geo Group, that now they're handling your parole. They're handling your probation. So now that's the next step, is to where they want to, they're pretty soon you're going to call Amazon Prime to, let go of your ankle monitor at the end of your sentence, not the courts. It seems like it's turning into idiocracy where, Carl's Jr. is taking custody of your children.
Great movie. And yes, I always feel like we're living, I say that I don't know how many times. At least once a month. I'm like, we're fucking living in idiocracy.
Especially over the last couple of weeks. It's just been ridiculous.
Yeah. It's just crazy.
Well, what made you leave that position?
COVID. Because towards the end, they had made a bunch of promises where they said, hey, we're going to, give you guys raises. Because it happened, I was there from the start to go, where we were with inmates in the hospital, and they would come in, and usually there's very strict policies where the door has to remain opened, and you can't do this, you can't do that. You have to sit in certain spots, because the nursing staff will come by and they'll check on you. Believe me, you're not following the rules, they'll call the prison, and next thing you know, people will come and relieve you, and you're in a lot of trouble. Mm-hmm. So then at one point, it was like 3 hours went by and we hadn't seen nobody, and then they came and said, hey, this door needs to stay shut. And hey, put these masks on, and next thing you know, they come in looking like they're coming to take ET with their, the bunny suits on and the hoses and the whole thing. So after about, and once you, especially there, once you were in contact with it or you had anything to do with it, they would isolate you, put you in quarantine dorms, they'd send you to the hospital for specific things. Because I was N95 certified for the mask. And once you're certified for it, they give you your mask and you got to go wherever they send you to. So it kind of got to the point where they said, hey, there's no more raises. We used all the money. Because they said we were supposed to just be using, they have inmate funds for certain things in case where they can use it from the state to for masks and for sanitation and different things. But they used all the money and said, we're broke. You guys aren't getting nothing. And I said, I'm out of here. I've had enough.
Yeah, right? It always fucking the workers.
Yeah.
And it's like, I bet you if you looked up how much profit they made,
A lot.
they
Lot.
probably didn't lose shit. They probably made money off of it.
I guarantee you they did.
Yeah.
Kind of like now with the order, you know, the way they're shorting the oil market from day to day. The straits open, the straits close. You know, it's back and forth. It's just clear insider trading. And then same thing with them. They're all lobbyists, and they know what laws are going to pass, and they know when to buy and where to buy. It's just a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
And that's why I think like the media plays a role in this, keeping us divided when it seems like, you know, like we're more progressive leaning, you're more conservative leaning, but it seems like, hey, we agree on these issues.
Mm-hmm.
We know who's screwing us on it, but instead of us going after the person screwing us, we'll just keep on fighting on Facebook with each other.
Yeah. It's like those YouTube videos where they put two bugs in a jar and they have them fight. That's all it is. Because we're busy trying to prove each other how right we are and how wrong you are, and that's all they have to worry about.
Yeah, because I mean, it's pretty true. If you sat there and you just talked about issues versus talking about like left or right or Republican, Democrat, you know, you'd realize that people agree on a lot more than they disagree on.
Yeah, what do we want? We want to make a good living on it. We want to protect our families. We want to be able to afford to go on vacation on it.
People want health care no matter what
Yeah.
side they're on.
Well, that's because the last thing with the prison is that exactly like you're saying is the state can fork over, you know, massive amounts of money of contracts and things like that to clothe and feed and take care of these people that some of them are wrongfully convicted or are on things that got way more time than they should have. But our schools' public fundings are all being cut. These micro schools are popping up everywhere.
Right.
We don't have enough. We don't have two pennies to rub together for the kids.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you too. How many inmates are still in there for like the you know, like when they made they lessened the marijuana laws and everything. How many are still in prison did they really release all the non-violent drug offenders with regards to marijuana?
So Biden's blanket pardon on all that didn't really do anything.
No, they gave him. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. Is that they gave him? I think it was like a 75% time served kind of thing. So it's severely shortened, but it did not dismiss. Anyways.
I mean, because that's bullshit. I was like thinking that, like, first off, I don't really think that. I mean, if you're a non-violent offender, I don't think, just my own personal views, I don't think you should be in prison for a long time. You know, I really don't. Because I think prison should be for violent people. Yeah. We don't need them out amongst the general population.
Yep.
Obviously, but yeah, that really pisses me off, that especially with regards to marijuana. It's like, because, you know, I mean, you can go buy it in a store almost in every state. I mean, like,
including Arizona.
Yeah, definitely Arizona. But I mean, I think there's only a few states that it's still not legal in.
I think Florida and a couple others are the big ones.
Florida, it's still not.
No, I don't believe
legal
it is.
there?
I believe it's only medical, but I don't not recreational. I don't think.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure Idaho's like still a state where it's not legal.
I'm sure.
We're talking like, you know, like the
ones that are are and aren't are very way skewed from now.
Yeah, I mean.
How long have you been, like, because you're very knowledgeable on all of these subjects, how long have you been interested in this? Like, Snow and I have been very passionate about politics. We always have been, you know.
Well, I haven't always, but, you know, it's
in the last dozen or so years or so.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would say moving to Kingman kind of made me more of a political person. Because I used to be really, really, I used to be a registered independent, honestly. Yeah. When I lived in Phoenix, ever since I could vote.
I was too.
But it's kind of like, it made me get more.
Well, I grew up.
into it.
I grew up with a different kind of, because my my dad was the first of our family to like be really born in America, and we came from Poland, and with their history, and with my grandpa served
Communist.
and they were destroyed shortly after the American Revolution. They were dismantled by their neighbors, the Russians, the Prussians, and the Germans.
Yeah.
And because it was trying to be like almost to a republic. But anyways, to get lost in the weeds is that when I grew up with my dad, and my parents were saying, it's right is right, wrong is wrong, and had these more conservative views on, you need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You need to put in the hard work to get what you got coming back. And pretty much they're saying, you don't come with your hand open if you have nothing to offer. And those are the kind of that hard working, that no one's going to do it if you're not going to do it. And if you're not going to if you're not going to help yourself, no one else will. So that, going with that, and watching a lot of History Channel, it had more groomed me to where I had this rose-tinted glasses that, being part of this moral, quote-unquote, majority and trying to put in the hard work. And I just realized that as you get older, 'cause I'm 31 now, is that you can't only look at it for so long before you realize that this is not what it is. And what I've seen happen over this past, I'd say since 2016, as it's progressed, is just been chaos and blatantly in your face about a lot of stuff, a lot of things. It's like nobody's even trying to hide it anymore.
Well, that's partially because of social media.
Yeah.
Also, kind of explodes that, and I think it started back in the 70s, though. And then you got.
What do you mean?
Like the media narrative of trying to sell you what's going on. So it started back in the 70s, and it got Reagan did his Fairness Act in the 80s, and that led to Fox News, and then that led to the corporate media.
I mean, it's going to sound funny when I say it, but I do always use this as, like, the movie Anchorman 2. Like, when he sits there and, they're like, why do we need to tell the people what they need to hear? Why can't we tell them what they want to hear? And then they're like, and we could put some graphics on here. It is true, though. That's what happened to our news. Used to be like just boring. They'd tell you,
Right.
Walter Cronkite would tell you what happened.
No, I'm
and then now it's like they had to make news exciting to get people to like want to watch it. But it's like that also kind of goes into the whole brainwashing thing, when you make it like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm old enough to remember those days that, we always had our dinner at 6:00 every night, right from the CBS Nightly News with Walter Cronkite. And, it was just whatever it was. And maybe that's what started with me, like my interest in it. And then they'd always have like that nice story at the end, and that's the way it was, December, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But I agree, and I think that it's just a loss of integrity, because back then, like even when Kenny was shot, they report it. There's no comments, no opinion. It was just they'd kind of look up and talk, and that would be X amount Pacific Standard Time, or and they just tell you what time would be there when it happened. They would they'd sit back and just you could take in the moment where you say okay, and not just going. And right now we're cutting the sports,
right?
Yeah.
But. Speaking of, like, you're talking about comedians, and one thing I want to say, and I can't remember his name, but he's a comedian, but he put it perfectly, because he went through every single one of the presidents, and he boiled it down to that this whole country was founded off of two different types of people, and that's, they say, cowboys and nerds, because the nerds want to come and they want to get it done, and they know what needs to be done, but everyone says it's just too boring. It's just not exciting, because Americans, it seems like we want to get up and get something done. Then you have the cowboy type presidents like For example, Andrew Jackson, getting dueling with people, getting shot, total psychopath.
Right.
But he's fought and everybody loved him because he was, here to get stuff done. But then you have all the other presidents that fall in those two categories, and the nerds, as he put it, his words, have
Right.
moved the hand in the right direction, and the Cowboys kind of come in and take the credit and get it done.
Right.
It's the best. It's the way he put it, and he puts it better. But it really, I think it resonated with the way it is now, because you have a good president that means well, like Obama, and tries to get things done, and then with the nuclear deal with Iran, and now next we're blowing them up.
Yeah.
And let's talk a little bit about your faith, and you're Christian, and how the Easter post was was the breaking point. How did you feel about that picture that he made himself like that Jesus, like the Jesus robes, and he had the healing light on the guy that looked like Jeffrey Epstein or whoever it was supposed to, Jon Stewart.
And then tried to say that
He was a doctor.
that he was a doctor
Yeah.
because they told him to say that it was doctored.
like isn't that really blasphemous though?
The whole thing makes me sick. It's blasphemy, but it especially when it comes down to, we have the first American Pope who's trying to say, hey, don't
Yeah.
turn this to a religious war, because this is not something that we want any part of. And he's right, and that's another thing where I said this is ridiculous, because I'm telling you, when he said, talking about blowing it up and praise Allah and on Easter, just making the doctor Jesus post,
And attacking the Pope.
yeah.
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 Who goes to war with a pope?
So I was raised Catholic, went to Catholic grade school. I've actually really liked both Pope Leo and Pope Francis.
Yeah.
I liked both of them. I thought that they've been and it has nothing to do with their religion. I'm like, these are good people.
It's a breath of fresh air. They put it in most mild way. It's not like you're getting this 85-year-old man who's saying, all gay people are going to hell.
Yeah, and they called out the wrongs, like Pope Francis, for example, defrocking the bishops who did very inappropriate things. I'm like, good. It's about time that a pope stood up to that, because that's been going on for far too long.
Yeah, it goes down. What's wrong is wrong, what's right is right, and that's the one thing that I think, especially with why I went to that event on that town hall, is because believe me, it was scary, because I called the Democratic Party building. I said, hey, well, can I just ask you some questions? I'm not trying to attack you. I'm not looking for sound bites. I just want to ask you some questions.
Right.
And Maeve, I think was her name, she answered the phone, and she talked to me, and I said, well, who do you recommend I vote for? And she told me who, and I went to the town hall meeting, and I was nervous because I didn't know how to write my questions, because I thought that I was going to be just attacked, because it's a scary thing to go in with.
Right. Yeah.
Who you've been portrayed as is these people who are on a completely opposite side of you.
But I don't think that they would.
No, they did.
They
didn't. They were very receptive. No, the only thing that happened is I had someone was trying to like, hey, is it a friendly question? Because I think they were afraid that I went in there to stand up there and kind of beat my chest and to just verbally accost everybody in the room. But it wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
no, but they did sort of.
They wanted to double check.
They go through the question. They went through the group question. We're talking about
Was this at the Ruben Gallego?
Yes. No. This was Dane Stravinsky, her town hall.
Oh,
But
okay,
it's-
Danny.
Running for Congress.
It's hard to write those questions without someone reading it. And I feel like it's something that you have to explain, like, hey, this is what I want to talk about. And it's kind of what we've kind of talked about already with the political environment of today.
Oh, okay. So what was your question?
My main question, because especially with go back to the Christianity thing, and because when they're attacking, is these people in southern Lebanon, a lot of them are Christian. They're blowing up churches.
Right.
They had the video where they're smashing that crucifix in the face with a sledgehammer.
Wow.
At that church, they've been killing people and nuns, and they've attacked a nun in Jerusalem, and they shut down anyway, it goes on and on. Where I was saying, what is so I wanted to ask, I started looking into the whole AIPAC thing and how they've given over $100 million just in this last campaign alone, and how all of our 80% of our Congress is bought by them. Paul Gosar, who never got back to me, I have it written down. I think I have it written down over here. He accepted to date 116,561 Mark Kelly's over, 4.46 or $4.5 million. But it's not even, and Brian Mast wearing an IDF uniform in Congress. This is a representative from Florida, a congressman from Florida, who's wearing an IDF military uniform in our halls of law, where we decide the fate of America's future, not Israel's future. And that's where I was saying, what are we doing here? Who do you work for? And that was my main thing.
Wasn't your question, would you accept funds?
Yes, I said, would you accept money from AIPAC? And she said no. And just right then and there, that just knowing that you're not for sale to foreign lobbyists instantly. And hearing her stance, talking about the water and the other things in the area, just instantly put me over the top.
No, and your question about that was immediately in my head. I was like, wow, that's a great question. I really like what she said, and it was at that moment I was like, I came home, I called Snow. I was like, hey, there was this guy there that asked these questions. He's so good. We need to get him on the show. Yeah. It was that night.
Right? I know. Yeah. Well, because we like hearing stories of that. Of that anyways, where it's like, well, I'm not going to say that I think that every single person who voted for Trump is like in the cult. I think a majority of them are. I think that MAGA is kind of a cult, but I think that there are normal Republicans and conservatives, out there that don't agree with like the whole MAGA thing. And I think a lot of them I think a lot of people maybe voted because of the economy and the issues like that, and are probably upset now because the prices didn't come down on day one, and all the other promises, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we always like hearing stories of that because, in the area that we are, there's a lot of people who very much so will just sit there and continually make excuses for why this stuff is not happening that was promised.
Yeah, to be honest with you, the initial reason I wanted Trump to win, and this is I probably it's not bad. It's funny because I thought it was hilarious that I felt like kind of the system was getting gotten at their own game. He seemed to get their goat in the beginning, and just he went up there, especially with the Republicans, because he get up there with some of these like Jeb Bush and stuff, and
yeah, there was.
And he just kind of just smacked him around. And we were like, yeah, like these rich old guys don't care about me. They don't have my interest. Make them look dumb. Yeah. And we thought, well, it was kind of almost like that GameStop stocks thing where everyone was just like push that to the moon because not that we believe in the GameStop company, but it was the point of the matter because the powers that be had already kind of moved and said, we're going to go ahead and get rid of this company, and we're going to short their stocks, and we're going to make a bunch of money on it. There's nothing you can do about it. So, and everyone got on board and said, no, we're going to make money too at it. And they pushed that stock for GameStop wasn't going bankrupt to where it was. Yeah. It was viable. And it's the same thing with this. I think a lot of normal Americans got sick of just being told in this, not to get too much deep on it, but I always said that it's, you want to eat dog shit or cat shit? Which one you want to eat?
Well, I think that we were on the same side in that 2016 because we watched that debate when there was 15 other people up on stage. But we were we were for Bernie Sanders for the same reason. We're sick of these corporate Democrats. We really did not want Hillary to.
Well, that's
get it.
the thing. Like you saying that, it's like, I understand exactly what you're saying, because it's basically going against the man, so
The
to
system,
speak, like,
yes.
quote unquote. And when you look, the Bushes are a political dynasty,
Bushes,
just
the
like
Cheneys,
the Kennedys,
yep.
the Clintons,
Yep.
like all of them. So yeah, you're like, we're tired of you, because we've seen what you've done before. And it's a bunch of to quote Bernie Sanders, the same old, same old. You know, like he's said that, you know.
I thought it was wrong what they did to Bernie Sanders when they robbed him of his primary.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is true, and that's honestly not the first time that's happened in history.
No, it's
either.
not.
Because like back when FDR was president, his vice president was actually Henry Wallace. You have to say the right Wallace, or else George Wallace, not a little bit of he was a segregationist, but it was Henry Wallace was his VP. Well, he kind of got booted out in the last election of FDR. They pushed in Truman because Truman wanted to test that atomic bomb too. And it's like, and Henry Wallace wasn't for that. Henry Wallace was more focused on like civil rights, workers' rights. And that's something that the rich don't really, they'd rather keep people separate.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It was like,
so none of this is unique, you know.
No,
none
it's not.
of these problems that we have are unique. It's just been amplified over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Via social media, corporate media, and
it's just more bread and circuses, because it's I think it's just the bread and circuses keeps everyone quiet and keeps people occupied, and they can make whatever moves they need to move.
Yep.
Well, Dustin, you were a great guest.
Yeah.
Was it your first time doing this?
Yeah, no, I've never done this before.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
You're a natural.
Yeah. Want to do it again sometime?
Sure.
Yeah.
I like running my mouth.
All right. So do we. That's why we did this. All right. Well, thank you for coming on.
I appreciate it.
It was nice meeting you, and I'm glad I went to that town. I'm glad you went to that town hall.
Me too. I tell you, it really was kind of scary. I was standing with my wife and said, I don't know if I should do this, and she said, well, you're already here. So.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. You know, like, I'm glad you did. I'm sure everyone there was like probably glad that you asked that question, though, because
no,
that is a thing that
he got a round of applause.
Good.
Yeah.
As you should, because I mean the left isn't really for, they want to get the big money out of politics too. I mean, there are a lot of corporate Democrats that do need to go. They need the boot too. I mean, one in mind that comes right to mind is Chuck Schumer.
Yeah.
I would like to see his ass out, you know?
Yeah, the last thing is that the number one thing also that you said that is I personally, I thought he was going to drain the swamp. I really thought he was going to like say, you know, let's get things, because the way this country was started was that you elected these representatives, because back then, you know, it was so far and such a big country that you say, well, you don't know, you go figure it out and tell us what happened, and it just kind of got too far out of hand.
Yeah, and now with gerrymandering, it's gotten to the point where it's now the elected officials get to decide the voters, rather than the voters get to decide the elected officials.
Well, except for in some states, though.
Well, yeah.
Like, they just did vote on that. And you know what? Like, I'm actually glad that the Democratic Party is now more for, like, I mean, they did have a bill. To be fair, they had a bill to get rid of gerrymandering, which is the ultimate, what I would like to see happen. But if they're not going to go along with it, if you're not going to get one vote from the other side to get rid of the gerrymandering, then yeah. And gerrymandering is kind of cheating, but it's like, you know what? If they're going to do, the only way to battle it is to also fucking do it.
Well,
you can't have sitting there being like, no, we're going to be the moral high ground. And then that's just going to piss the everyday American citizens off because you're not going to get anywhere.
Well,
so it's like enough is enough.
And it's a race to the bottom. I forget
Yeah.
who said that. It's a race to the bottom of our political system.
We can't keep doing this. It's like we're either, if we're going to go this way, if we're not going to be able to get rid of it, then fuck it. We're going to have to be on board with it.
But what's going to
have to do it.
What's going to take is conversations like this today, where we talk to, I'm saying collectively, everyone, is that the two sides need to talk to each other and have honest conversations about this and elect the officials that will actually fix these problems.
And we need to talk about the issues.
These issues.
Like this. That's all. That's another Bernie thing. You know, he's always like, if we talk about the issues, you forget about the so-called,
Right.
political alignments. Because honestly, if we had more parties, I would be a member of the Labor Party. I would. I'm more for workers' rights and all that,
Yeah. And
I would.
And if we reach common ground on the issues and not just vote by the color of the tie someone has on it, it would do a lot to fix everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially if we just, what I think a lot of us got hoodwinked on is to pull it back. To what I mean by America First, not saying that we're the best and but just pull in the reins, because this empire business has just become too expensive, and it's gotten to the point where if we just were to kind of go back to that Monroe Doctrine, you guys stay over there, we'll stay over here, we could really kind of refocus on our own home while we're looking at everyone else's house.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's
And that
great
wouldn't that
point.
be more of like America first?
That's
Well,
that's what you would think.
And the whole thing about, the America First and what's being pushed now is the Roman Empire fell too.
Mm-hmm.
And I would hate to see that here.
Especially because now the barbarians, not saying the rest of the world is barbarians, but the barbarians are at the gates. Because not only have we completely ostracized and belittled and humiliated all of some of our closest allies, but now we are actively working against those countries that did have more of our best interests at heart. For example, Mexico and Canada.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guess we'll end it on this. I was going to wrap it up. I had one more question for you.
Sorry, go ahead.
How do you stand on the immigration?
It's a tricky thing, but when it comes down to it, I would say that been to the border, I go to Mexico quite often, is that, and if I'm working in a prison, it doesn't matter how many guards, dogs, scanners, x-rays, anything you put. If a person wants to do something, they will find a way. And I don't have an answer for how, but I believe that we should have a more of an open border with our southern neighbor Mexico, because at the end of the day, they're so integrated with our communities that I think it's almost 80% of Americans today can have active connections to Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, why not bring them into the fold and help to make a stronger North America rather than focusing on what's going on over there in the Middle East?
Can we ask you this?
What?
Do you have any political aspirations? Because you'd be great.
I know, right?
No.
I wouldn't want to deal with the bullshit either.
No.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys
That was
having
a
me.
really good answer, though.
Yeah.
That was a really good answer.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yes, we will definitely talk to you. We're going to actually be interviewing Danny in a few weeks, and we'll definitely give you the time and invite you on and
Yeah.
get her on the record of answering that exact question. Again,
Or any other ones, too.
or anyone.
Well, for what I've seen, she seems like a person of integrity, and I look forward to that conversation. I think that she'll deliver on her promises,
Well, it's going to take a lot of work here,
especially in this town.
in this district overall. So
Yeah.
we'll do that.
I'm interested in really seeing, like, if the needle moved at all after the results of the election. I'm interested. Well, I mean, because we are so red.
I don't see why.
I want to just see if it moves even a little bit.
But isn't it, the candidate but Gosar?
This is what I'm saying. I mean, like, the guy's own family. Like, I really like his brother David. He'll go on record. He'll call into a lot of like news shows and, put the warning out there. Please stop. Don't vote for my brother. My brother is a sick man.
He's not well.
Yeah. He's like the whole family is.
Well, he
made
seems to be afraid
commercials.
of phone calls too. He doesn't like
Well,
answering
no.
the phone.
Well,
Yeah.
even emails. I've emailed him, and
I've emailed him.
I have said, do not use the term Biden regime. Do not use all these keywords. Don't give me a fancy answer. I'm asking you about this specific thing. And it would always be this canned response. Like, I know you didn't even write this. One of your interns put this through AI.
But they refer you to
back.
their news bulletin and you go, this has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah. This is not what I asked you.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're going to do all we can to make sure he doesn't get elected. And that's going to be a very challenging thing.
Pushing a boulder up a hill.
I know.
Literally.
Well, I'm talking to my fellow Republicans, and it's trust. And tell you, it takes a long time, but it you can chip away at it, even if no matter how many times, mean names they call you.
Oh wow.
Yeah. All right. Well, good.
So don't give up, because I won't.
All right. Well, we'll have you on again to talk more about that. Okay.
All right.
All right. So we'll wrap
Appreciate
this
it,
one
guys.
up.
Yeah. Bye, y'all.
Bye.